Hi, I'm Daniel. I am a fourth year student at the University of Toronto, majoring in psychology and minoring in Buddhist psych and environmental studies. So when I first came to the University of Toronto, I was kind of like an arrogant, kind of pompous kid who just really assumed that everyone else around him didn't really like him, had pretty low self-esteem. So I came to university under the expectation that things were going to be different. My first year was like very similar to high school in that like I didn't do great. I did pretty average, and I met a few friends, and everything was fine. But I was still pretty like overall lonely, miserable, and like had pretty low self-esteem. But like I figured second year would be much better, and I just would wait for it then. So I go into second year, and it's at this point that I start having a bit of trouble, because not only did like my low self-esteem and like all these social pressures started catching up with me, but I finally had to start addressing like what I wanted to do and like why I was here and like in the university and like what I wanted to achieve through it. And I also found it pretty hard. I found it harder to get by and like get by as easily as I could in my first year courses. And so the pressure of everything just weighing on me really pushed me down and resulted in me completely just breaking down. And I ended up becoming fairly reclusive. I pushed a lot of my friends away. I like dropped a few courses, and I just wasn't doing well at all. By the end of second year, I managed to salvage that a little bit and salvage my grades and my friendships a little bit, but I was still pretty unhappy and thought pretty lowly of myself. Like over the course of my university career, I was actually diagnosed with general anxiety disorder, GAD, and a bit later, I was diagnosed with dysthymic disorder, which is like a type of very mild depression. So over the summer between year second year and third year, I genuinely considered not coming back and thought maybe I'd be happier somewhere else or happier taking a year off. But for some reason, I decided to put myself back into it. So I went into it like head first, like kind of optimistic, not really, and I just completely fell. I fucked up again. I didn't do that well. I didn't do great. I just hated the university because I assumed that it was just trying to ruin me at this point. But then soon after that, I actually tried to be mindful of the reason as to why I wasn't feeling well. Like, is it really the university? Is that possible? Am I just using that as a scapegoat? So I thought about it, and then I thought about what I want, and I realized that really all I wanted, just like not just out of the university, but out of my life in general, all I wanted was to be happy. And moreover, I wanted to let myself be happy, which is something that I was avoiding by blaming all of my problems and shortcomings on the university and pretty much, just using it as a scapegoat. And so I realized that like I should take a more mindful approach and actually try to think about what the university is, because like in all honesty, after thinking about it, the university, the intention of the university is to emulate like real life, what we'd be doing after university. And so maybe it's just the transition from high school to university was a bit hard for me, and so I had to get the hang of it, because like going from having like social support, the support of our teachers, to having to fight for ourselves. And so just maybe I couldn't handle that. But is that to say then that the university is unrealistically difficult, or is it just as hard as real life is? And so I started thinking about like, well, how does the University of Toronto make me feel? Like, how do I feel here? And then I thought about it, and I realized that the university makes me feel a bunch of really contradictory things. Like, it makes me feel really dumb and like really smart and really shy and really excited and just really lonely, but also a part of something. I felt like worthwhile and worthless, and I felt my worst and my best here. And so I really realized that the university is a place just like any other, and really, I'm just putting my negative expectations on pretty much everything that I do. And so it made me realize that there's nothing particularly unrealistic unfair about what I'm experiencing here. And so through this, I sort of realized that everything I was feeling was fine to feel, and that it's okay to feel happy just as it is okay to feel sad. And through that, I became more secure in my insecurities and more comfortable feeling, not the best sometimes, just as sometimes I feel pretty damn good. And I really learned that I myself am like, regardless of how I'm feeling, I'm okay. So.